Hello! I'm going to make this midweek check-in fairly quick. I say that, it probably won't be. Oathbringer. I hope I'm going to finish this week because I'm into the final stretch now. I started off the week at page 1055 and I'm currently on page 1166 of 1233, so I've got about 70 pages left of it, so I should be able to finish that this week. Speaking of books I finished this week, I have actually finished Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which was my book club book with my sister and my friend Sarah, and this is, it's categorised as a horror, but I don't want that to put you off because I'm a complete wimp and this really wasn't scary at all. I think that this is more suspense thriller type of book rather than horror. There are some gruesome, gory bits, that's definitely in there, but in terms of jump scares or anything like that, that doesn't really happen so much. Yeah, it's a lot more suspense than, so if suspense is creepy to you, then maybe you'll find this a little bit scary, but I certainly didn't find it scary for me. It follows it's got various perspectives, but essentially the plot of the story is that the Atargatis, a ship, went out to the Marianas Trench to look for mermaids, and none of the crew made it home. The ship was later found completely abandoned, no bodies or anything, nobody knows what happens to them except for the fact that there's some video footage of mermaids attacking them and killing them. That all happens in the first chapter. And then we predominantly at the beginning of the book follow the sister of one of the victims of the Atargatis as she is investigating the truth behind mermaids or sirens. And so this book was actually a lot more sciencey than I was expecting, which was interesting. I really enjoyed that element of it, and I think it's worth knowing that going in. It does make it feel more science fiction than horror as well, just with that added suspense and thriller. It's not quite as brutal as I was expecting, and I did find the middle portion a little bit slow, if I'm being perfectly honest. So it was a good book, nowhere near as scary as I was expecting, which was good, but also not as gripping as I might have liked either, unfortunately, but still a solid read, and if you're interested in the premise, I think it's worth checking out. As for my current read, I had a little bit of difficulty deciding what I wanted to read next because there were a few things that I thought I should read for videos that I have coming up, that I have planned, which are a secret, so I'm afraid I can't tell you about them. But I wasn't in the mood for any of those, so I decided to pick up Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, which is a book I've heard so much about. There's been so much hype about this book on BookTube and Bookstagram, and I'm sure on Book Twitter as well, although I don't really use Book Twitter too much, and I kind of wanted to see what all the fuss was about, and I'm currently on page 258 of 418. Side note, nice floppy paperback, which I very much approve of, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really fun and a little bit sexy and really cute, and it was just what I needed. I needed something light and fluffy and easy to read, and that's exactly what this is. But I'll give you my final thoughts at the end of the week because I will be finishing this one, and I will possibly finish one or two more books before the end of the week, but I may not be able to tell you about them. Super casual end of the week check-in, and as anticipated, I did indeed finish Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson, which is the last book that is currently out in the Stormlight archive. So sadly I've now finished my reread of Sanderson, with the exception of Skyward, but I'm not going to reread that until probably the end of October, because Starsight is not due out until mid-November, so I want to reread Skyward just before then. But I really enjoyed this. I feel like the plot of this one is a little bit more bitty. It definitely feels more like a trilogy than the other two books. So if you don't know, Sanderson does plot and write these as if it's a trilogy but in one book. That's why they're so big, and this is the first one, I think, in the series that really felt like a trilogy. That's not intended as negative or anything, it's just that it feels more trilogy bind up-esque, whereas the other two read more like they were just one storyline, where there are quite a few storyline arcs going on with this one, which did make it a little bit more complicated. But I understand why he's done it that way, because things are now starting to amp up. The first 5 books in the 10 projected books in the Stormlight archive are meant to form one complete story, so this is halfway through the series, and so it had to deal with quite a lot of things, and I suspect that the next book, which is hopefully coming out next year, will deal with a lot more build-up, whereas this was more putting some puzzle pieces out there and starting to fit some of those together. So that was really good, and I really enjoyed the reread. If you're familiar with the series, the character whose flashbacks are dealt with in this instalment, I don't like who that character was in their past. I think that the new them is very much of an improvement, but I think that's intentional and made that character feel even more real, and meanwhile our other two main characters continued to grow and develop in this book. So I really enjoyed revisiting the series. I'm kind of sad that my reread of Stormlight is over, but it's okay because I can reread them again whenever I want. I then picked up, well, I was reading this at the same time really, but I finished Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and there's been so much hype about this book on BookTube, and I tried to keep my expectations low for that reason, because I didn't want the hype to impact on my reading experience. But I really enjoyed this. It was just really fun and funny and cute, and it follows the Prince of England and the first son of the United States of America as they fall in love with each other and have to deal with the fallout of all of that. So it actually deals with quite a lot of important issues as well, which I really enjoyed. But ultimately it's just a really fun and cute romance, and it's light and fluffy, and that's exactly what I needed and was exactly what I was looking for. And books like this remind me why I like adult romance so much, and I really need to read more of it because I really have so much fun when I'm reading them. And then from there I listened to How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cowell, narrated by David Tennant, and that's exactly why I wanted to listen to the audiobook of that book, because David Tennant is amazing. He will be my doctor forever, but I was really interested to listen to the audiobook because he uses his own Scottish accent in that narration, and it was just so funny. He did such a great job with it. The story is for children and for quite young children. I probably would guess that it would be well placed in a 6 to 7 years old age range, so it wasn't like fantastic literature, but the story arc was interesting, the characters were engaging, and the audiobook in particular was super fun and easy to listen to, and I used that to keep me going until my next read, The Deathless Girls, came out. It's actually release day today, but I pre-ordered it, so I managed to actually get my hands on it yesterday. And before we go into this one, can we just take a moment to appreciate the gorgeousness of this cover, and then it gets even better. Under the dust jacket it looks like this, so it's like copper foil, goldish copper foil, and the end papers are beautiful. And then this is the Waterstones exclusive edition, so it's signed and also has pink sprayed edges. So this book is a stunner, and I started it yesterday, but unfortunately I haven't had a lot of time to read because work's been a bit hectic and has made me quite tired. But I'm on page 79, just at the beginning of chapter 8, and this follows twin sisters who are travellers, which is really interesting because I don't read a lot of stories with travellers as their main characters. So these two sisters are travellers, and they're taken from their home and delivered to Dracula to become Dracula's brides. So it follows the story of Dracula's brides, and I understand that there's going to be a female-female romance in here as well. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at the viewfinder because I just can't get over how beautiful and shiny that is. I'm going to put it down. I'm like a magpie. So far so good. I'm really enjoying the writing style. It's not particularly long book. It's 304 pages, and I'm pretty sure that it's a standalone, so because of that the pacing is pretty quick, which I like. I feel like I wanted a fantasy, but I needed something a little bit on the quicker side because I'm about to start a secret video which I'm not going to tell you about right now, but I feel like that's going to take up a lot of my reading time, so I wanted something a little bit lighter on the fantasy. And actually I'm super glad that this came out when it did, because this has been one of my most anticipated reads of the year and it's just perfect timing. But as I mentioned, I'm doing a video that I'm hoping I'm going to get up onto my channel pretty soon, but depending on how my reading goes for that, there may not be a vlog next week, or there may not be a vlog for a couple of weeks because I can't document the books that I'm reading for this secret video in my vlogs. So it might be that if that's all I'm reading, that there's nothing for me to talk to you about in a vlog, in which case I will try to do an extra different video, because I am trying to put up 3 videos a week when possible. I couldn't last week, so I will do my best to get 3 videos up for you this week. Yesterday I put up a video where I took a little trip down memory lane, so I will link that up above for you in case you are interested. And that's been my reading so far this week, and I've been enjoying what I'm reading, and I can't believe actually that I've read 106 books so far this year and it's only September. That just completely blows my mind, and I'm just so grateful to BookTube for existing, and to this channel, and to all of you for inspiring me to read again. I really, really love it, and I've been having such an amazing time reading books this year, and there's so many more that I want to read. So yeah, if there are any books that you've read recently that you really loved and that you felt inspired by or comforted by, then please let me know, because I'm always open to new suggestions. My TBR may already be quite long, but I'm not adverse to adding to it, you know? But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.